In the early hours of July 15th, 2016, 16-year-old Lashaya Stine vanished without a trace in Aurora, Colorado. A bright honor student with dreams of becoming a nurse, Lashaya had been interning at a local hospital and was preparing for a job interview later that day. Surveillance footage captured her walking near Montview Boulevard and Peoria Street around 2:30 a.m., but she never made it home. At first, police treated her disappearance as a runaway case, delaying urgent action. Her mother, Sabrina Jones, insisted something was wrong, especially since Lashaya left behind her wallet and phone charger. As the investigation unfolded, disturbing tips suggested Lashaya may have been lured into sex trafficking, with reports placing her at motels and even in other states. The Aurora Police Department, later joined by the FBI, has pursued every lead, but Lashaya remains missing, and her case is still shrouded in mystery. This is her story. Lashaya Stine was born on May 29, 2000, in Aurora, Colorado, to her mother, Sabrina Jones. She was Sabrina's only daughter and had two older brothers. Her eldest brother was named Lashaya Stine, while the name of her second older brother has never been publicly revealed. From a young age, Lashaya stood out as a bright and driven young woman. She attended George Washington High School, where she excelled academically and was even recognized as an honor student. Lashaya was well-behaved and stayed out of trouble, but as she grew older, like many teenagers, she began spreading her wings. At 16 years old, she started to attend parties and spend more time out with friends. Despite this, her mother, Sabrina, remained very protective of her. She was cautious about where Lashaya went and who she spent time with. Even though Lashaya was a smart girl, she had been somewhat sheltered growing up and was still a bit naive about the dangers of the world. Lashaya had big dreams for her future. After completing high school, she wanted to attend nursing school at the University of Colorado. She was thrilled when she managed to land an internship at the University of Colorado Hospital, which brought her a step closer to achieving her goals. At the same time, Lashaya was learning to drive, another milestone that made her excited about her growing independence. Wanting to earn some extra money, she applied for a job at a local fast food restaurant and was eagerly preparing for her interview, scheduled for July 15, 2016. On the evening of July 14, 2016, Lashaya was at home with her mother and brothers. She was focused on getting ready for her job interview the following day. The night seemed completely normal. As Sabrina headed to bed, Lashaya told her that she was also going to sleep. She told her mom, "I love you," and wished her good night, words that Sabrina didn't know would be their last exchange. However, Lashaya did not go to bed as she had said. Around 2 a.m., her younger brothers were still awake and making noise in their room. Lashaya went to their room and told them to quiet down or she would tell their mother. They listened, and she shut their door behind her. This was the last time anyone in the family saw her. The following morning, Sabrina woke up and asked one of her sons to go wake Lashaya so she could get ready for her interview. Lashaya needed to be at the restaurant by 1 p.m., and Sabrina was planning to drive her there herself. But when her brother went downstairs to Lashaya's basement bedroom, she wasn't there. Alarmed, he told Sabrina. Sabrina assumed maybe she was in the bathroom or somewhere else in the house, but a quick search confirmed she was gone. Panic set in. Sabrina immediately began calling Lashaya's cell phone. At first, it rang with no answer, but by the third call, it went straight to voicemail, which deeply worried her. Sabrina knew how excited Lashaya had been for her interview. It didn't make sense for her to leave without telling anyone, especially without answering her phone. Adding to the concern, Lashaya had left behind her wallet, ID, and cell phone charger, strong signs that she had not planned to be away long. Sabrina got in her car and began driving around the neighborhood, hoping to spot her daughter walking nearby. She spoke with neighbors, but no one had seen her. After searching for a while, with no luck and Lashaya's phone still going to voicemail, Sabrina called the Aurora Police Department to report her daughter missing. Initially, police dismissed Lashaya's disappearance, assuming she was a runaway because of her age. But Lashaya had no history of running away, and even if she had left on her own, it was clear she hadn't intended to be gone long, given the belongings she left behind. Sabrina recalled that the only time Lashaya had ever gone missing before was a brief incident lasting just 20 minutes, something completely unlike her. She was also excited about her interview, making it even more unlikely she would disappear voluntarily. Convincing police that Lashaya was not a runaway proved difficult. Shockingly, police didn't come to the house initially. They took the report over the phone and told Sabrina that someone would call her back later. Feeling helpless, Sabrina and her family continued to search on their own. They drove around the city, checking different areas, and Sabrina even called her sister and niece for help. The family tried using Google to track Lashaya's phone, but they were only able to see the last time the phone was active, not its exact location. By 6 p.m. that evening, police finally arrived at Sabrina's home. They searched Lashaya's room and made a startling discovery. The basement window was unlocked. A flower pot outside the window was knocked over. Sabrina thought Lashaya might have planned to sneak back in through the window but couldn't, so she left again. However, police saw this as proof that Lashaya had run away, further stalling their investigation. As a result, no real police investigation occurred in the critical first days after Lashaya went missing. Authorities assumed she would eventually return on her own. Determined to find her daughter, Sabrina and her family printed flyers with Lashaya's picture and description, handing them out across town. Some people claimed to have seen Lashaya in various locations, but each lead turned out to be false. Gradually, the family began to suspect that Lashaya had left home to meet someone, possibly an older individual with bad intentions. Initially, they hoped she was simply afraid to come home after sneaking out, but as time passed, they began to fear something far more sinister had happened. They gained access to her social media accounts and websites she had visited before her disappearance, but found no clues about who she had met or where she went. A week after Lashaya vanished, the Aurora PD finally opened an official investigation. The police chief, returning from vacation, immediately felt that something was off. On July 23, 2016, he personally visited Sabrina's home to hear the story directly. Later, police revealed they had discovered surveillance footage showing Lashaya around 2:30 a.m. on July 15th. She was seen walking near Montview Boulevard and Peoria Street, crossing the street before disappearing out of the camera's view. This suggested that someone could have picked her up from there. Initially, Sabrina suspected Lashaya's ex-boyfriend, whom she considered a bad influence. Police questioned him, searched his phone, and found no recent contact between him and Lashaya, so he was ruled out. Rumors then began to surface that Lashaya had been picked up by a man involved in sex trafficking. This horrifying possibility became a primary theory. Over the next weeks, there were scattered sightings. July 28, 2016, someone claimed to see Lashaya at a local bus stop, but police couldn't confirm it. Police received tips of sightings at local motels known for prostitution, with witnesses reporting a girl matching Lashaya's description seen with a known trafficker. One woman even reported seeing a girl with the exact scar on her chest that Lashaya had. Each time police investigated, they found nothing. Tips soon expanded beyond Colorado, with reports placing Lashaya in Kansas, Arizona, Wyoming, New Mexico, and Missouri. Multiple tips suggested she was being kept drugged and moved between states, a common tactic used by traffickers to keep victims hidden. Despite receiving numerous leads, police struggled to find solid evidence. Traffickers are skilled at avoiding detection, often avoiding phones, credit cards, or anything traceable. Victims are kept disoriented and moved frequently, making it incredibly hard for families or law enforcement to track them. As Sabrina desperately searched for her daughter, scammers began to exploit her grief. In April 2017, a woman texted Sabrina, claiming she had Lashaya. She demanded $2,000, threatening that if Sabrina didn't pay, Lashaya would have to work it off and would be punished if she tried to escape. She also warned Sabrina not to call police. Sabrina, terrified, begged for proof, a photo or a phone call, but the woman refused, claiming she was using an app to hide her identity. Police later determined this was a scam. Over a year later, during a prostitution sting, police arrested Rosari Young and discovered she had been behind the cruel messages. She had also scammed another family with a missing girl. Tragically, she wasn't the only one. Another scammer tried to get Sabrina to send gift cards in exchange for information. A man claimed Lashaya had been sold to white supremacists, showing fabricated text messages. These hoaxes devastated Sabrina, who just wanted answers. On the one-year anniversary, police released another video plea, featuring Sabrina and Lashaya's brothers tearfully begging for her return. A reward was offered, but no solid leads came in. By 2019, 3 years after Lashaya's disappearance, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children created an age-progressed image of what Lashaya might look like at 19 years old. The FBI joined the case, and the reward was increased to $15,000. Still, there were no credible leads. In November 2020, investigators executed a search warrant on a vacant property near where Lashaya was last seen. They spent 3 days searching, using cadaver dogs, jackhammers, and concrete saws. They collected evidence, but did not find Lashaya's body. The nature of the evidence has never been publicly disclosed. In February 2022, for what would have been Lashaya's 22nd birthday, Sabrina spoke to local news. "I used to be so afraid for someone to tell me she was deceased, but now I'm at the point where I just need answers. Whether she's alive or gone, I need to know. If my baby is out there living her best life, I want to know. If she's under another identity, I want to know. If she's not alive, I need to know that too." The disappearance has taken a devastating toll on Sabrina's health. Years of stress have caused her to develop a heart condition, and there are still days when she cannot eat or sleep. As of now, 11 years later, Lashaya remains missing. She would be 27 years old today. While some tips suggest she was sex trafficked, nothing has been confirmed. If she is alive, there's hope she can still be rescued, but people must know her story. Lashaya was described as 5 feet tall, 150 pounds at the time of her disappearance, a quarter-sized scar on her chest. If you have any information about Lashaya Stine's disappearance, please contact the Aurora Police Department. Her family continues to hope for answers, desperate to know what happened to the bright, ambitious young woman whose future was stolen.